Good morning, everybody. The Smile Tapes was a massive analog horror series from a couple of years ago about a strange infection that contorts people's faces into wicked grins and makes them hyper-violent. A link to the series is below if you'd like to check it out. We watched it recently on stream to see if it still holds up, so I hope you enjoy my reaction. Okay. Now we are watching Smile Tapes by Patariku, who doesn't want to be known as the Smile Tapes person anymore. They've gone pretty silent on a lot of their social media. All the social media I could find, they didn't want to talk about Smile Tapes anymore, unfortunately, and they turned off comments on their videos. It's a bit unfortunate, but you know, some creators they just they don't want to get locked into one thing, right? You know how actors they don't want to get typecast. I can understand why a creator wouldn't want to just be known as, you know, the Smile Tapes guy or something like that, right? You know, going back to Fear and Hunger, right? Miro wants to work on other stuff too at some point. Like, he doesn't want to just be the Fear and Hunger guy, right? It's pretty natural for creators to want to spread their wings a bit. So it's interesting. But we'll see what the hype is all about, because Smile Tape seems to be pretty popular. You know, videos talking about, you know, analysis videos get, you know, 2 million views about Smile Tapes, right? That's how popular it is. So I've been wanting to watch this one for a little while, and it has actually been out for ages. The complete version of it has been out for a year and a half, right? So it's a bit of a classic series at this point. So do you mind being mostly known for Fear and Hunger? Yeah, I don't mind it. Because I want to branch out though. Well, that's the thing. I want to branch out as well, but I don't mind being known mostly for Fear and Hunger, because that's what my best content has been. My best content, objectively, my best content has been Fear and Hunger based. So, and I'm happy to admit that. You know, I would like to make better content about different things, but I'm not. I don't feel bad that my best content so far has been Fear and Hunger content. My best and most popular, which are, you know, they're two different things, right? Okay. Here we go. All right, ready?
This message is broadcasted to raise awareness of a new drug in circulation.
So there's
the
no
Smile drug.
There's no
We advise for you to stay away from any person suspected to be under its influence. For the past few months, we have received over 500 deaths related to the drug. The drug itself has not been scientifically investigated. Its most obvious effects are mania, uncontrollable laughter, violent tendencies, and the latched smile in which the drug was named after.
Is this the
How
a
do
Joker
you
drug?
ensure your safety outside? Avoid dark alleys, since most reported deaths happened near or in a dark alley. If you hear suspicious laughter, run as fast as you can. Avoid eye contact with the person. Once the person notices you, it will begin pursuit. Do not interact.
Okay.
You will most likely be.
So I wonder if so a lot of this stuff is a bit cliche by now. I wonder if this stuff wasn't as cliche when this came out. Like, you know, the AI voiceover, the where is it?
Dark alleys, since
The grinning
most
face, you know, that sort of stuff.
happened near
It's
or in
really
a dark
cliche by
alley.
now, but
if
this is this popular, it probably wasn't back then, right?
Run as fast as you can. Avoid eye contact with the person. Once the person notices you, it will begin pursuit.
And look, our stick
Do
figures, let's
not
go! Oh!
You will most likely be.
Whole Mandela catalog stuff is he's getting a little old. Yeah. Heaven Smiles? Oh, Heaven Smiles. That makes sense. Also, by the way, I should mention that this is the entire series in a single video. So I think there was like 8 episodes. I don't recall actually. But this is all, we're just gonna watch it all together. So To be fair, I think this was made during the early days of Mandela Catalog inspired analog horror. Yeah, that's what I suspected, right? Substances made from spores from an unidentified species of fungus. Uh-oh. Risk of accidental intake is very high. What do you mean? The boys. Patient 1, patient 2. Before Mandela, the main cliche was hijackings, alerts. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Complaining of a severe headache and acute facial cramps. None of the medicine helped. Not even antifungals? They were taken to the laboratory for observation. And this is something I actually mentioned in when we were watching... What were we watching? Basswood County last time. It wasn't last week, it was a week before we watched Basswood County. The phrasing of things isn't quite right. And I guess it was a bit more forgivable back then when it started, but now it's very noticeable. If I was being uncharitable, I would say it's kind of annoying. It's kind of grating when the dialogue is just wrong, and it's like they wouldn't phrase it that way, you know? Harmon Smith is not Gurman the First Hunter. Patient began to smile with some resistance. Patient suffered meningitis before subsiding within 2 days. Patients remained sane. Isn't meningitis a brain thing? Stage 2, week 2. Oh. Any resistance have been subdued by the fungus. Faces begin to contort into a wide grin. Patient's behavior becomes predatory. Yeah, he's bald now. He lost his hair. Maybe they shaved it when they were doing... Okay, I will say that a lot of stuff does do sound like that, but I do like it. I mean, the classic is the Five Nights at Freddy's VHR. What was it? The analog horror tapes. What do they call it again? It was like, Michael, don't leave me here, Michael. You know that one? That was great. Kino, 10 out of 10. So I know it's not, and that one's not overused yet. I would like things to use it more. Love old style ARG and web series. Yeah, they became smile emojis. Gemma suspects. It kind of is. Yeah, it doesn't really. I don't know. We'll see. We haven't gotten that far in yet. You know, the first episodes are always iffy with analog horror, so we'll see how we go. Stage 3, week 4. Ooh. Fungus has permanently damaged facial tissue. Yeah, no kidding. Leaving a severely contorted face. Actually starting to look a bit spooky. Despite extensive nerve damage. Fused muscles maintain its expression. Even tied in analog archives. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that up. If ever the patient recover, a face transplant is required for reintegration. Yeah, no kidding. Vocal cords have stopped functioning due to extreme strain. Patient behavior and motor functions begin to decline. Me when a game allows me to practice cannibalism. That's cool. Rapid senescence visible in patients. Now, I know that word. I don't remember what it means, though. Patience is completely lost resemblance from past self. Brain is left in late Alzheimer's stage. Oh, senescence is conditioned a process of deterioration with age. Okay, so they're aging rapidly. Patient 2 did not live to this stage. Okay. Getting owned. Patient 1 passed away 6 weeks into his admission. Yeah. Yeah, he got mood scorched. Fungus found in brain cells? Yeah. A lot of analog horror deals with like fungus and parasites and what have you, doesn't it? High concentrations of fungus found and amygdala. I wonder if this series, if Smile Tapes, was responsible for that strain of parasitism running through analog horror. Because I was wondering where it came from, because a lot of series use that, and I was like, well, it has to start from somewhere, right? And since Smile Tapes was wildly popular, it wasn't one of the goats. You know, it wasn't Mandela. It wasn't Local 58. It wasn't one of the goats, right? But it was obviously really popular. So, not a plug. We want a beta read. We have an SCP proposal. Is there a good place Maya and me could send it to you to give it a once over? I don't know much about SCPs, but on my Discord you can send it in and I can take a look, I guess. And give you my thoughts there. Where is my... Hang on, let me just get the link to that. Here. You join the Discord there and throw it into suggestions and I'll take a look at it. If you want me to do it privately, on my Twitter, you can DM me privately if you like. What's my Twitter account? And go follow me too, by the way, so I can inflict my awful takes on you. Okay. Watching. Remember that fungus that took over ants and shit? Oh, yeah, cordyceps, right? Wasn't it? Cordyceps is a bad one. People eat that. You couldn't make me eat that, right? For real. Yeah, I'm gonna eat the ant parasite brain fungus. Yeah, okay, sure. Even to analog archives, more VHS tape style analog horror like Gemini compared to TV broadcast style Local 58, Channel 7, etc. Combined method style like Mandela. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I don't know which one I prefer. I think I prefer... I do like it when series do change and experiment a lot, and I think you've got to keep it interesting that way now. You can't just lean into one anymore because everyone's seen it, right? So, you know, local, although you could, I guess it was like Local 58, right? Where every episode was a different style as well. But Local 58 also had, like, you are approaching your destination, right? On the fastest possible route or something it was called. Wasn't that Local 58 as well? Or was that part of the series? Or I don't remember actually. But I'm pretty sure it mixed like VHS, like home recordings and stuff too. But you do need to mix it up, right? You can't just go the same format the entire time. I think that's one of the big issues with the Godzilla, the Man in the Suit series, right? I think that it's just the same thing. You can do it for like a 5-minute video, right? But if you do it for like an hour-long series, it's like I'm just over it, right? It's just tiresome. You could do it 2 years ago. It feels like that's what Smile Tapes is doing, right? Yeah, it feels like that's what Smile Tapes. Oh no, they mix it in too, don't they? But you can't do it now, I think so. I don't ask for your cordyceps control in my senior physical lab. Cordyceps for me was horrifying even before Last of Us was a thing. Oh yeah, absolutely. I never even played Last of Us. I know basically nothing about it. So people say the games were good, but I don't really. I know I was never really into those more cinematic games, to be honest. With very few exceptions, like Metal Gear. Anyway, suggesting complete control over. 30 minutes into the autopsy. Sudden burst of gas coming out. Oh, there's a noise. There's a sound effect. What was initially thought to be gas was figured out to be spores of the fungus. Your own 2 morticians were present in the room. They may have inhaled the spores. So, so like, for example, right, a better way to present this would be voiceovers with like pictures of the 2 morticians doing the autopsy, right? That classic way, like in Mandela, how they have the conversations between the 2 guys, right? If you don't want to get voice actors, that's fine, because voice actors can be not high enough quality for what you want. But then you could just have the text on screen, which I think Mandela did a few times, was just have the text on screen. So, but I'm not that I'm directly criticizing this for that, because it's, first episode, old series, right? But that's an example of how you would want to do it a bit more interesting, right? Joined up, not on Twitter, avoid it and Reddit like the plague. Fair, very fair. This ARG watch together. How you doing, Azim? This is Smile Tapes and ARG. I don't think it is. I think it's just Analog Horror, isn't it? Phone call in Mandela was so amazing. Well, which one was that? Because there was a lot of phone calls early on. I'm sort of saving Mandela because I don't think it's finished yet. Maybe we'll do it soon, because they've got heaps of episodes out, right? They've got hours of content, so maybe it'll be worth watching, actually, even though it's not quite finished yet, I'm pretty sure. Mandela had some amazing moments. Like, legitimately, it's definitely earned its place in analog horror greatness, and I don't think it's because a lot of people sleep on it. Why? Like, they think, spooky faces, and the faces were spooky, but the amount of experimentation the creator does, and he does some amazing stuff. My favorite moment in all of analog horror is in Mandela Catalog episode 3, volume 333. Where Stanley is on screen. Oh, it's amazing. I love it. I love it so much. I think it's actually perfect. It's an actual perfect moment. So, the father yells at the co-worker about his kids. Where are my children? Oh, that wasn't Mandela. That was it wasn't Five Nights at Freddy's. It was one based on Five Nights at Freddy's. What was that called? I do not. I really like that one too. Actually, that was a pretty good series. I had some great voice acting in that. What was it called? Walton Files. That's the one. Walton Files. Yes, that one had some. That was really good, actually. People slept on that one a bit because, Five Nights at Freddy's knockoff, but they did some pretty interesting stuff. So, One Night at Flopty's. What's up, Maya, for a minute? She wants to know, have you ever gotten into Condemned? No, I haven't played that yet. Walton Files had some really good moments. We should watch that, actually. I'm pretty sure that's finished, right? I actually really like the art in that. I thought that really lent itself to the analog horror. I'll write that down and we'll take a look at that some other time. I don't want to sit here raving about how good Walton Files is when we're not watching Walton Files. We'll definitely look at that at some point. Okay. Let's see, watching Smile Tapes. Let's see why everybody says Smile Tapes are so good. It's not finished yet? Really? Oh, there you go. They've been quarantined. Sean G. What was that? Where is it? 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 $53.4D. What do you think that means? What do you think 53.4D? Let's write this down. 53.4D. Is this going to be like hex code or something? Movie was alright. Movie was awful. With 4 days since the migraines and twitches began, I'm in agony. I will go to the doctor. The one tape in Fear and Hunger where the guy turns into a Bobby was terrifying. Yeah, that was great. Told me it was a stress and electrolyte imbalance. So true. Take pain meds and relax. Stay hydrated. Exactly, bro. Stay hydrated. I'm gonna have a sip right now. Get that mosquito taste out of my mouth. My face hurts. Okay, we're good. Dr. M. Pagliacci. So true. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. So, like...
Everyone happy.
What was that? Hang on. Can you tell me something? A quest to fulfill a brand new life in a better place. Well, he's misspelling stuff on purpose now. Okay. This is faith? What's too unbearable for a simple man like me? Too much vice, too much sadness. I have the power to fix this. This is pretty goofy, yeah. I'm not enjoying this part, to be honest. This is way too slow. You could do this in like 3 frames. Everyone I see shall become happy. I hope I make you happy. Yay. Happy New Year. Yay. They put spores. They put spores in the fireworks, bros. They put spores in the fireworks. You're all dead. Oh my god, you are all dead right now. I'm not happy. I'm not. Sean Gomez. Oh, Gomi. Age 22. Mass homicide? Armed with a knife. Had a grotesque facial expression. Suspected of being under the influence of some drug. Police response? Police officers were not able to subdue the man. He wounded one of the officers. Committed relentless violence. Officers were forced to shoot him dead. So, like, yeah, like this wording. Any police report would never, like, none of these words. They would use these words. You know, we did cut them a little bit of slack, but it's just annoying sometimes. In every series, and never word any of it right, so. Like, can you imagine a police report that says the officers were forced to shoot him dead? No. Mass homicide's not even a real thing, it'd be X-count of homicide. Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's... no. But yeah. I didn't like that section at all. That whole thing could have been like 2 frames and then 2 or 3 frames and then that countdown part. I like the countdown part. That was pretty nice and the sounds. And then cut to the police report. That would be good. But yeah. So I can never suspend my disbelief. This kind of horror. It's very hard to suspend your disbelief with this style of horror, isn't it? It is. And that's what was so good about like Local 58. Was because it was done. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do recall it being the language used was very good, very close. But I think my neighbors got charged with 8 counts of distributing fent. Yeah, like an actual police report would give numbers. That's the whole point of a report, right? because they take it to a judge, and they're like, oh, you know, it was just mass homicide. Okay, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? A news article might say, you know, mass homicide, right? But not a police report. Not a police report. So, I think you just have to be a bit more careful with the wording. But yeah, I think this section leaves a lot to be desired so far. Aftermath. It's very emotional. Like, would they call it aftermath? Do they use that word? No. Yeah, it's supposed to be very clinical, isn't it? Do I look beautiful? Of course, it's fine when weird stuff starts manipulating videos, right? That's different. Watching records and police station and yes reports have to be very accurate. There you go, yeah. He smiles. Should have shown it as a news report. Yeah, exactly. If that was a news report, I'd buy it. They would still probably use more numbers, but you'd still like, okay, maybe it's just a shitty reporter, right? You can accept it. But you look beautiful. No, it's you are
Welcome
beautiful.
To far history, where we explore Earth's huge past. Today,
Yes.
we ask the question, where did life originate? Well, there are a bunch of theories surrounding this, so let's get right into them. Our first theory is abiogenesis, life from no life. It proposes that organic beings originated from non-living matter in hydrothermal vents. This creates a chemical soup that may have caused a reaction, creating the simplest forms of life. In the last episode, I told you that the Earth was literally hell. So how could life survive in such conditions? Well, Earth only stayed hell until oceans appeared around 200 million years since the Earth's formation. Water is the most important ingredient to life. Without it, life would have never flourished. It also helped cool the Earth down to a relatively comfortable 212 Fahrenheit. Thanks for me. Now this theory is a bit more far off, but it's the most interesting. It suggests that life came from another world and exists throughout the universe. When asteroids or other space dust hit a fertile planet, some of its debris gets ejected back into space, possibly containing life forms. Around 4.1 to 3.8 billion years ago, the Earth experienced a late heavy bombardment, possibly indicating that life may have arrived from those asteroids.
This is way more interesting. Way more interesting. The distortion effect is definitely a bit annoying. They could definitely tone it down a bit. Hang on, no, what did that say? What did that say? Hang on. For the Chindinalu High School. Okay, let's write this word down. Chindinalu. Where is that? Chindinalu. Chindinalu High School. Primordial soup leading to life. I got like 3 of those half-drinking coffees sitting on my desk. Imagine trying to get into analog horror, but you're sensitive to flashing lights. Yeah, good luck, buddy. It's not happening. Face detected 19 miles at the south of Chindinalu, California. CA, is that CA? Face detected. Oh, there it is. Where we were? Started to notice a pattern. How much do I have the quality turned down? No. These signals are only heard at night. Ooh. 12:35 a.m. Fast is perfect. We keep pushing, bros. On that seizure grind set.
13, 26, 15, 19, 26, 9,
I'm not writing this down. I'm not deciphering this. Had to get an analog horror at my age because too much of it isn't accurate. Like the tech used and how it works. Yeah. That is unfortunate when they do that. Like, I can't watch any show that talks about game development, like, at all. I just can't do it. I just get too mad at how like awful and wrong it is. Although, actually, I don't mind analog horror about like haunted and cursed games and like whatnot. I think it helps that the people who make those videos usually have to make the game, so they know a bit more about it. Oh god, how long does this go for? Any radio station can be heard after this point for the rest of the night. We're not watching all that. A numbers station. Favorite creepypasta? It's a good question. I have to think about that. See to decipher these cryptic messages. I'm not. Smile Investigation Journal. There was a face that flashed on screen. I'm not staring back to look at it. It's too creepy. Jet the Killer's Kino. Absolutely, yeah. As of October 1395. Wow, that's a lot of deaths. That's a lot of hospitalized. What the hell? Kind of shit so far. It has not been great so far. Fungus. After extended observation, it's shown that the fungus was deemed unstable and prone to mutation. Okay. Scientists fear that this may result in more variants of the disease. Like any kind of ARG/analog horror, as long as it doesn't rely on loud sounds and distortion too much. Yeah. You've got to actually have the good content there, right? Fungus naturally transmits around 2 billion spores. Okay. The spores released throughout the closest orifice after the host dies. Yes, we've seen that before in the autopsy. Yeah. When it's like... I think there has to be... It's... I don't know, I don't mind it. Like, you know, I think that we can... These days we have a better understanding of, like, when they talk about, okay, thousands of people dead, millions of people dead. That is kind of spooky, because that's sort of, we're used to that from like zombie movies and what have you. So we sort of have a better understanding of how bad that would be. But it is scarier when that horror is made more personal. If it's just like 1 million people died and then it's just like words on a screen, it's like, oh, okay. But then it's like, you're actually looking at people who are at risk because of this. Then that becomes scary. That's why when like, you've got slasher movies and it's just a group of people in a cabin and they're getting murdered. That's scarier than... that's scary because it's very personal. You have to get that personal element. Like, what does this mean for the people who are left, right? You have to extrapolate on what that means. You can't just say, oh, somebody was beaten to death. Like, oh, okay. What does that mean? Like you have to say, well, okay, someone was beaten to death, right? And like, okay, that would be spooky if you're in that moment. But then a piece of media has to actually show you that being in that moment. And yeah, it would be scary. But just words on a paper, it doesn't mean anything, right? So I think that you can make it scary when you're talking about huge amounts of people dying, you know, nuclear war, 1 billion people dead, you know, zombie virus, the whole world is dead, that sort of thing. I think you can make it scary. You just had to show what it would be like in that situation. You know, give people somebody to latch onto. So, Dragon Ball dropping the whole power levels thing. After all, the numbers don't mean shit. Yeah, you'd have to be careful like that, right? You know, it didn't take very long for in Dragon Ball for the number system to not mean anything. It's just like, oh no, now he's stronger. Now he's stronger. Now he's stronger. Like, yeah, okay. Series ain't hitting the same like it used to. It's very dated. I imagine this would have been way better when it came out. Now the whole genre is saturated and it's very easy to point out the flaws. And I'm not criticizing this, right? I'm not criticizing this for the fact that these things are overplayed, right? Because at the time they probably weren't. I don't know exactly when these videos came out because I don't even know what number. It's not even broken up into which episode this is, right? So I'm not criticizing this for being like overplayed or anything like that. I'm criticizing it just sitting here and was watching it and just seeing these, seeing it how it is. It definitely doesn't have the same impact as it would have. Like, that's for sure. Like, you can't really change that after you've watched so much analog horror now. But yeah, it's like watching older films, right? You can try to get into the mindset of when it came out, but you simply can't. You just can't. Like, the whole Rosebud movie. You're never going to be able to watch that from when it came out. You'll never be able to appreciate it as it's meant to be appreciated. So, yeah, or Forrest Gump. Well, Seinfeld is actually a great example of that. And they have that, what do they call it? It's like Seinfeld syndrome, where when Seinfeld came out, it was revolutionary. Nobody was doing anything like that. But then nowadays, everybody copies Seinfeld, so it seems really boring because, I've seen this a million times. So it's like, well, when it came out, nobody had seen that before. So, if like people sit down and watch Seinfeld, like I've had friends try and sit down and try and watch Seinfeld. They didn't watch it when it came out. And they're like, yeah, this sucks. Like, why do people like this? It's like, well, it's new. It was new back then. Citizen Kane, that's the one, yeah. But yeah, so you've got to try to be aware of that, what would you call that? Bias, I guess? Aware of that bias and try to put it aside. That's what I try to do. But yeah, at the end of the day, I've already seen, 20 different analog horror series, right? So I've seen all this before, but a lot of this stuff was, I feel like Smile Tape probably didn't invent any of the stuff we've seen so far, like do any of it for the first time, I feel like. I'm still pretty sure that Mandela did a lot of this stuff earlier, and Lock 58 and what have you. I would have to check the dates. If it did do it first, that's impressive, but still. I'm actually just looking at the delivery of it, and people still love Berserk, and it's copied so much. Yeah, like you can still make a series that copies other things, right? That copies other things and still be good. Still have really solid delivery, even though it's not delivering anything new. You can still do that, right? And so far, this hasn't. We'll see how it goes, right? I'm not going to say it's all shit, it's all crap, right? Because we haven't finished watching it, but so anyway, let's keep watching. Anyone within 10 meters are at risk of contracting the disease. Is it a disease if it's like spores? Or is it like an infection? Spores can linger for as long as 30 hours. If media overload, like, we have so much content at our disposal. Definitely, yeah, absolutely. That's why personally, I don't think AI is going to change that much. Because we already have, like, so there's two perspectives here, right? There's the producer's standpoint, and then there's the consumer's standpoint, right? From a consumption standpoint, nothing is going to change. Because there is already so much content that you can never watch it all anyway. The only thing, but from a production standpoint, it's very different, right? And that's what people mostly argue is from a production standpoint, like how it's taking artist jobs and what have you. But from a consumption standpoint, it's very quickly going to get to the stage where you can't notice a difference. Now you can use AI to, if you use it right, you can use AI to make pictures that people can't tell the difference. You can. That doesn't mean everybody does. A lot of people still are really dumb with it, but you can, right? And soon we'll be able to make other stuff with it too. And this isn't talking about the morals or anything like that. I'm just talking about the technology and what people are going to do with it, whether you like it or not, right? I personally don't like it. I don't think it's a good thing, but it's going to happen. So you sort of have to sit there and accept that, right? You know, it's like going from horses to cars, right? You have to accept it's going to happen. Whether it's morally good or not, it doesn't really matter because it's happening. So, yeah. So from a consumption standpoint, I don't think much is going to change. Because right now, most people get their media from curators, right? So a lot of people get their media from people, they hear that something is good and then they play it because of that. They don't find it by themselves. Some people still do, but most people don't. So most people get it because someone told them it's good. And that's curation. And curation is always going to be important, right? And I think that's going to end up being in the future will be more important. And this is a while away in the future, you know, like a decade plus. I don't think art's going to just vanish overnight. I don't think that's like people making art is just going to vanish overnight. In a couple of decades, I imagine that curators will be what we see as artists today, right? So AI will be able to make infinite things, but you will have curators to tell you what is actually worth your time and what isn't. And you can see Steam actually moving towards that already. You know, and I don't know if they predicted AI, right? Maybe they did. They're pretty smart, but that's why they've got that curation system on Steam. So I don't think that's true, but I understand the sentiment. I think that we're going to get AI whether you like it or not because you cannot stop. It's an arms race. If American companies don't develop it, they're going to develop it anyway because the government can't stop them even if it wanted to, and it doesn't want to. And even if they didn't, then other countries would, like China, Russia, whatever. They would. China loves this sort of tech. Japan loves this sort of tech. They would just do it anyway. So we're getting it. The tech is getting better, and it's going to happen. Like, it doesn't matter if you like it or not, it's happening. So why even draw at that point? People just do it for the sake of enjoying it, right? Like horse riding. Like, is there any point to horse riding right now? No, it's strictly entertainment right now. I don't think there's anywhere in the developed world where you need to use a horse for something that you couldn't just use like a quad bike or something for instead. So it's all just entertainment, right? And I think that there will still be people doing that. Will still be people drawing, painting, carving, sculpting, whatever. There will still be people doing that even after AI can do all of that. People just like doing it, so. But it will be a choice. You would choose to do it, right? Make AI to give a list of good AI generation movies and games. Maybe. Maybe. AI Meow. There's already AI content creators out there. I don't know if I haven't really looked at them, but I don't know. I don't think they're probably not very good. They're making slop at the moment. Kwebbelkop's AI stuff is utter slop, but the point of it is to push the boundaries and figure out what it can do. So, dead mouse theory. It's getting better, but I don't think the use is necessarily going to become the main method of creation. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, I think it will. Making the fungus more difficult to obtain. They've been called spore puffers by the citizens. Police are currently patrolling areas known for frequent spore puffing. That's not a scary name. It's not a scary name. You've got to give them a scary name or it's just goofy. Bro, watch out for the spore puffers. in my horror series, they're called spore puffers. I've been doing well. I've been offline for most of the weekend. Yeah, I've been doing all right. Working hard or hardly working. It's been stinking hot here. It's been ridiculously hot where I am. We had a very special Australia Day. I did, yeah. Spore puffer was my nickname in high school. The exact source of the fungus is still unknown. It came from space. I see my spore puff. She's sporing my fungus tulip puff. Fungus fears appeared as a black. It was only brought to public attention after the New Year's homicide. Huh. The Gomez homicide. No. You can't call it that. You can't call it the Gomez homicide. You've got to call it the Gomez incident. We're analog horror here. It has to be the incident, right? Thankfully, I have a pretty good air conditioner, but it's still been... It'll be in the middle of the night, right? And I'll just be turning it down lower and lower and lower, and it's just getting hotter and hotter, right? It's crazy. And it does this thing where, you know how they like move up and like you've got the blades that like move up and down to sort of blow air all over the room. If I make it point at one spot, after like a couple of hours, it will just like stop and then like close up. And in the middle, so I can't actually have it pointed directly on me, which sucks. Anyway, the Gomez tapes. Oh, the Gomez tapes. It wasn't taped though. If it was taped, then yes. I reckon the Gomez incident would be better. Is that him? Please search Gomez's apartment. They found a journal that dates from January to December, just hours before the homicide. Did they have pictures of him? Inside there were pictures of his face. Evidence implies that Gomez was infected at December 4th as a victim of spore puffing. Appears to develop delusions towards the new year. We know this. Why are you going back over this? We've seen this already. Before descending into a violent killing spree. Gomez died around stage 2. Most common stage a person dies at. Gomez with that W Riz. Whoa! Let's watch that again. I was distracted. That's pretty cool. I like that. Sean did the right thing. Oh, he's all mangled up, isn't he? Oh, gross. He's all like... Oh, no, I thought that was his ribcage. That's his hand. He got shot, didn't he? Yeah. Let's see. It's still like code, isn't it? I'm not figuring that out. That was cool. I like that. We're getting somewhere. We're finally getting somewhere. I think you could deliver that just a little better, though. You know? And this is a nitpick, but I think you could be just a little better. It's good. What I would do is, you know how... Let's rewind a little bit. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You know how it beeps every time text comes on screen? Just boop, 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 right? What I would do is I would go beep, like right at the end, just before it switches over. I would beep, and I would have Sean did the right thing, and it would be for like 2 frames, and then it would hard cut to this creepy thing, right? Instead of like waiting. And I think that would be just a little better, because that way, because the person is like looking directly at it then. Because if it's like, if it stops for a second, you know, you get a little bored and you look away. But it's good though. It's much better. We're actually having things happen now. Morgue incident. Let's go. The morgue has been quarantined since the incident last week. 2 morticians closest to the body displayed minimal symptoms. Gemma sus face? No, that was the, have you seen this man? Face. Proper safety measures were not maintained at the time of the incident, but they didn't know, did they? A Dark Raccoon posted fan art of the New Gods plushies. I want to buy them for my upcoming daughter and other future children. I talked to my friend Bar makes plushies, and she said that if you want to make more than a couple, you've basically got to do, like, manufacturing, and that's a whole different kettle of fish, so... Maybe one day, but probably not soon. Protocol was made stricter to ensure safety when handling a smile patient.
My fellow Americans.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Ho, 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 ho. Oh. What was this series called? Fuck me, what was it called? No, it's the one with JFK. The one with JFK, and it was like it had the Statue of Liberty. Lincoln, and it had Lincoln Lookers. What was that series called? The Lincoln Looker series. Lincoln. How do I spell Lincoln Looker? Monument Mythos. We got Monument Mythos in here, boys. Let's go. Let's go. We fucking love Monument Mythos. I love it. It's so cheesy. It's so good. Sorry, I bumped the mic. It's so good. Oh, man. This probably is, I don't know if this is beforehand or not, but still, I just love it. We love the voiceovers from old footage of presidents. We love it. Hey, Gothrock man, how you doing? Let's go. Monument Mythos was great. It was all over the place, and I loved it. It was all over the place. Just crazy. Just went completely unchained at the end. And that was perfect. He's making a new series, isn't he? You know what? I'll look that up for next time. Okay.
Last few months, our citizens have been under attack by a new and deadly force, a fungus that affects the minds of our citizens and causes them to kill other people. Our scientists and police forces have been making efforts to contain and treat the infected, but it's only had a minimal effect. I have also declared an emergency in San Diego City, so I now advise every citizen to stay inside. If we don't act now, this may escalate into a countrywide epidemic.
Stay inside, stay inside, stay inside, stay inside, stay.
Following message is transmitted at the request of the San Diego County Emergency Management. San Diego and Tijuana are under attack by the infected. An estimated 8,000 people have been infected and are currently causing havoc in the streets.
Oh, wow.
Shelter in place immediately or risk your life. Lock and barricade your doors and windows.
So yeah, they have turned into zombies, haven't they?
Prepare to isolate and man.
Backwards text. We gotta read the backwards text. They are...
Prepare.
Oh, go away. They are stronger than you think. T-H-I... Yeah, probably. They are stronger. Yeah, that's stronger.
Prepare to isolate and manage your resources. Be vigilant and wear protective equipment to avoid breathing in the stores. The President has ordered the National Guard to San Diego.
Oh, fuck me. Oh, wow. Pow. Oh no, it's Mr. Smiling Man himself. Isn't this so beautiful? The bloodshed. Their cries. Do you find me 10 out of 10? Fill me with such joy. I like it when things happen in this series. It's good. It's good when things happen. But there's a lot of times where things don't happen. Now we can be together. In a happier place. Just came back, my family looking at me because they're screaming on the video. Have you seen this, Gemma? Sounds like San Diego on a naval day. As feared by scientists. My face when I see more they're screaming. Thank you. 2 new variants have appeared in the scene. Oh no, bros. They're mutating. Why is my chat... Hang on, my chat is frozen here. What's going on here? This is broken. Oh boy. Okay, chat's broken on stream. Sorry guys. So you may not be able to see your messages. Thank you, Stream Elements. Thank you. Variant A original. That's me. That's not me. Ooh. I like those faces. The faces are good. Now Sophie say pee pee and poo poo. Most common variant as of now. Variant B. It's what's this fungus called? Do we have an actual name for it? Do we like a smile fungus? Is there actually a name for it yet? Have I just like completely like missed the name? Am I allowed to say COVID-19? Am I allowed to make COVID-19 jokes yet? Or are we still mad about that? Is YouTube still mad about that? Do you remember how there was like a million different variations of COVID that came out? Every month they had a new one they were bringing out. That was pretty fucked. Anyway. The effects are minimal. Okay. Yeah. Patients retain their sanity until, however, they still pose a threat of transmission. So these are just like carriers. Call it Geligma. This patient was seen sneezing and coughing out the spores. Sarah Campbell. Hello, Sarah. She's the first patient to have this variant. Okay. She's ground zero. How do they know? After being exposed to the spores in the morgue. Oh, she was one of the morgue technicians. She's currently quarantined and observed. It's called Ligmacoccus tachylocatus. Can't just get over this with a germ sus brain poisoning, I know. He lost his hair. Text here. Variant C. That's terrifying. Whoa! It's me after 5 drinks. Me on crack. My sussilium. Variant C molding. Something's happening. Checkerboard, is this Masons? We're talking about the Masons now? I was wrong. Nothing happened. Why would you do something so cool and then have nothing happen? I'm actually getting kind of mad at this. I'm actually getting kind of mad at this series.
I'm in a hotel in Kidinlu to hike roughly 25 miles south from here. I'll be hiking through the Alturas Dourados Trail around 3 p.m. Hopefully, I'll be back before nightfall because temperatures can plunge down to 32 over there, especially in January. Wish me luck.
Okay, so far, right? I have issues, right? What's the mystery? There is no mystery. Like, you know how when things do deep lore and it's not really clear what's happening, we know what's happening. It's all very clearly explained. There's no mysteries. The only mystery is like, oh, where did it come from? And then it literally told us anyway. It's from space, right? So how are there like videos that are like breaking down the smile tapes? What are they breaking down? There's no mystery here. Maybe there'll be some stuff coming up, but there's like, oh, you know, there's hidden codes in there, and I bet the hidden codes are like, they're coming. He is coming. I'm not going to spend the time to actually try and decipher them, but it's 100% going to be stuff like, he is coming. We are immortal. That sort of thing. There's no comments on the video, so you can't just look them up, but I don't care that much. I legitimately don't care. I'm actually getting kind of mad watching this series, to be honest. I'm legitimately getting mad.
I made it stop. I didn't feel my way on the top since I didn't want to waste my tape on long and mundane walks. It's quite a good view up here. Jesus Christ.
Hello? Hello? You need help?
Is this a 3D models? Is something finally happening, bros?
Hello?
Oblivion gameplay.
The fuck?
What's going on there?
Spooky face. We're gonna get fucking jump scared, aren't we? Take that in.
Anyone in here?
Morse code, huh? It's quite interesting again, at least. It's not good yet, but it's interesting. He's trying something. Kissing. Who's he kissing? It's the Wojak. This isn't scary. Maybe it was scary back then. Well, that sound effect was kind of cool. Let's see. That was kind of cool. You know what? I'll change my mind. I like that. These tapes are making me smile, but probably not the way that the creator wanted. Yeah, he was pogging. He was pog chefing. Smile Investigation Journal. Issue number 5. I like it when they use sound. And that like sound of choking was cool. That was a cool sound, right? I think sound is super underrated for those sort of segments, right? And when you think back to all the best segments, because they have really interesting sound effects happening. The visuals are okay in that part, but it was the sound that really made it. This poor guy. He's the he was turned into the throat goat. You listen to him. Shut my pants because of this video. Choking monkey, yeah, a little bit. Michael, don't leave me here. Michael! As of March 31st, 96. Almost 10,000 deaths. Half that hospitalized, interesting. Who is he kissing? That's a good question. Scientists were able to determine its evolutionary origins. Ooh, they found it. A microbe in the Yucatan region. Where is that? Gulf of Mexico. Oh, okay. Down in Mexico? In Mexico? Microbe was found in an insect trapped and preserved in amber. Oh. Radiometric dating suggests the insect lived around 60 million years ago. DNA suggests the insect has terrestrial origins. Okay. The microbe, however, suggests otherwise. Ooh. Scientists theorize that microbes' descendants include the fungus and possibly more undiscovered species.
There are many theories about their extinction. One is that the dinosaurs' destiny was written in the sky. A cosmic shower of asteroids or a large meteor struck the Earth with an astounding impact.
Jurassic Park Analog Horror, there is one, I'm pretty sure. I haven't watched it though.
Not all life on Earth was extinguished with the dinosaurs. The smaller animals emerged to fill the evolutionary niche left vacant by the demise of the dinosaurs.
Chicxulub crater. I think they mentioned that. I think that's where that guy was hiking. Scientists have given the fungus. Oh, finally we have a name. Let's go, bros. Who's listening? Abeliamundo rhesus. Abeliamundo rhesus. What does that mean? What do you think? I'm going to write it down, and then if it doesn't tell us in the next frame, I will look it up. Mundo rhesus. Mundo means ground, doesn't it? The jester? Doesn't actually mean the jester, does it? Olivia McCormack. Oh, wait. There's no distortion. Bros, there's no distortion. We might actually get a video with like minimal distortion this time. Okay, so Abeliamundo rhesus means the world's laughter. Makes sense. Feels less like an analog horror and more of a documentary horror. Yeah. Might actually be able to see what's happening on screen this time. No, we're not. We can't actually. Like, we can't. Well, I am running out of food. Don't know if I can survive any longer. Every day just gets worse. Real and true. No, I'm kidding. Every day gets better, bros. The smoke suffocates me. I sealed off most of the ventilation in my apartment. Because I fear that the spores may come through. All I hear is the crackle of fire just blocks away from here. The laughter of the infected. And the screams of the unfortunate. Okay, you could tell all this in like 2 frames. I'm a big proponent. You guys know. I'm a big proponent of just cutting all the fluff out. Cut everything. Just cut it. Cut. Make it shorter. If you can tell a story in 1 minute instead of 5 minutes, do that. If you can get the same emotional impact in 1 minute instead of 5 minutes, 100% do that. Otherwise, you're just wasting everybody's time. I think it was, I don't remember who it was. I think it was Oscar Wilde. He said a lot of stuff. But he said that if you give me more time, I'll write a shorter book. That's true. So, feel less scared and more educated, which brings back fear of high school. Oh, the script for my Logic video. After I finished the first draft, my next 4 drafts were just cutting stuff. It's like 2 pages shorter than the first draft. It went from like 21 pages to like 19 now, or something like that. Sound effects are good, yeah. Like when they said, it's smiling time. That monster noise isn't very good. Generic spooky monster noise. Cool. That's cool. More of that, please. That's what that face is from. Okay, that was cool. The ending of that was really cool. Okay, I like that. Do more of that.
Good afternoon, Miss Campbell. I'm here just to ask you a few questions. I know this whole situation right now is a lot for you to handle. Being locked away in a room, far from your loved ones, and subject to rigorous tests that have probably pushed you past the point of exhaustion. But the reason for this is that you might be able to help us end this whole epidemic. It has been 3 weeks since you were diagnosed with the fungus. How are you feeling right now?
I'm fine. Facial pain's been gone for 2 days. Though my cough's gotten worse.
You've completely lost your urge to smile, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Arctic monkeys.
That's interesting. You're the first person to have this variant of the disease that we are aware of. Every case prior to yours has ended in a violent death. You seem to have recovered from it. You see, our early understanding of your case is that it's a late bloomer. Its course runs slower, but eventually it will kill the host. I think we should investigate if your recovery is the result of a weaker, non-lethal variant, or if it's because of your immune system.
So, this is highlighting a big issue where they're just repeating all the information
we
we
already
already
know. Your immune system responsible for your phenomenal recovery. We can't extract your antibodies, create vaccinations, and for immunity, and possibly make a cure.
Well, I hope that's the case.
Now, let's talk about the incident. Is there any reason why you were not following standard safety protocols in the morgue? Miss Campbell?
I wasn't in my right mind at the time.
Can you elaborate?
I was in grief. I still am. I couldn't cope with it at the time.
She what?
I couldn't focus.
She what? I couldn't hear it.
I could have not shown up for work today. I couldn't cope with it at the time.
Miss Campbell?
I wasn't in my right mind at the time.
She wasn't in her right mind. What's up?
Can you elaborate?
I was in grief. I still am.
Wait, what?
I couldn't cope with it at the time. I was in grief. I still am.
Can you elaborate?
I was in grief. I still am.
What is she saying? I actually can't understand what she's saying. This feels important, and I have no idea what she just said. Not sure if it inexperienced VA or intentional bad inflection for the big brother baddie effect. I feel like it's just inexperienced VA. She was in grief? Is that what she's saying?
I was in grief.
I was in grief. Oh, that does sound right, doesn't it?
I wasn't in my right mind at the time.
Can you elaborate?
I was in grief.
That does sound right, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. I heard I wasn't hungry. Well, I hope she's not hungry when she's doing an autopsy. She was in Greece? That makes sense, yeah. I think this lack of effort in voice work is intentional. I don't think it's intentional, no. This is something why... This is why I don't give people flack when they can't do voice acting for their thing, because if you do bad voice acting, it just ruins the whole effect, right? I don't think this one is entirely ruined. It's not as good as like having a good VA though. But you do have to figure out ways to present that information in an interesting way instead, is the thing. So, and this is not great. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. I've seen better and I've seen worse. So, you know, it's middle ground, this conversation. That's why I always say don't get like real acting in your like full actors in in your thing, because you probably don't know an actor good enough that you can afford in your analog horror series. You probably don't. So please don't. So just be really careful with acting. Not even Mandela could, right? When they had that detective in I think it was episode 3 as well. It could have been episode 4. It was like, man, this fucking sucks, dude. It's so bad. Please don't. Like I'm sorry, I don't want to shit on the actor, but it's like man, it's not working. This ain't it, brah. Anyway, let's keep going. We had to watch Mandela at some point. We really do.
So I couldn't cope with it at the time. I couldn't focus. I could have not shown up for work today.
Well, see, that's the thing, Dennis. A lot of times you can't show what's happening. Like they can't show, all the things that they want to show that they actually can't. And in horror, that is okay because it often leaves it up to the viewer's imagination, and you will always imagine something scarier than they could ever show, right? And when you can't show, you have to tell, and you have to come up with increasingly interesting ways to tell, is the thing. So, and what something like Local 58 does is that it makes the telling of it scary in of itself. Not only is the thing that they're not showing terrifying, but the telling of it is terrifying too. So, now you sound good for a voice actor. I haven't voice act. haven't technically voice acted anything, but YouTube videos are basically voice acting. So, and at this point, because I'm a I am a streamer and a VTuber, we're basically amateur voice actors by default. So I technically have a lot of experience. That being said, one of my VTuber friends who I have doing some voice acting for my upcoming Logic video. She has, I don't know if she has experience or she's trained. She's put a lot of effort into being a voice actress. And when I listen to her and then I listen to my own voice, I'm like, okay, there's definitely like a step up there. She's definitely professional compared to me, even with my practice and what have you. So there's definitely. I mean, even with my last one, when I got Marcus in there, like the voices that he can do, you know, he's like a step up from me as well. So it's you know, there is a difference than like a regular VTuber. But I think that we're about halfway there, right? You know, we've started the journey. We started the journey, and it's not that. It's a lot less of a step to go from a VTuber to a voice actor than like a civilian to a voice actor, right? Hello, our Russian friend. How you doing? Okay, let's keep watching.
But I had a son to raise. And without its father, it's so much harder to do. Now I'm here, stuck in a laboratory.
I just don't care.
I'm really sorry.
I just don't care.
We might see an ending to this ordeal.
Hey, Gothrax. How you doing, man?
The research laboratory was infiltrated by the Smiler. Despite the high security of the facility, it was not able to withstand the enormous wave of Smilers. Everyone, the personnel and subjects, were killed in the bloody raid. All but one.
Okay, so the lab got owned. Spooky face. There is no cure. There is no cure. Faces are way more spooky when they're just shown on screen and then have weird text over them, I think. Now, Genshin voice actor, absolutely, yeah, I'm actually, well, I shouldn't say this, but I'm actually in contact with, the bit doesn't work if I don't know the company's name. I'm actually in contact with them right now. I'm gonna play one of the little girl characters. Oh, this is like full screen. You're actually missing out part of this. Hang on. Here we go. How long does the city take to burn down? Longer than you'd think. And now it's back to square. Fuck's sake. Peak horror face is when you have a hideously contorted face making very pleasant small talk. Must have a rough day, sit down and make a tea. That would legitimately be freaky, I think. You could definitely make that work. For sure.
Wait, what?
Half-Life death sound. Beep, 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 beep.
I was there during...
Like, cool visuals, but what the fuck is happening? Like... I can't be scared if I have no idea what's actually happening. This series is actually making me mad.
No, full outbreak. I stayed in my basement for a whole year. Yeah. I had to get used to living in such a claustrophobic space where I'd risk getting infected or brutally murdered by those psychos. The tricky part was getting food. You know, I'd carefully walk around streets with a gas mask, avoiding the infested areas, and the competition for food was like really, really high. So lots of fights would happen, supermarkets that were abandoned, with like a high chance of like a smiler, you know, intervening. And I got to witness one myself. And God, oh my God, it was the bloodiest thing I have ever seen. It was insane. And later on, the outbreak, we learned that these like seemingly unstoppable variant disease could be burned by heat and caustic. And it was quite the revelation because it was quite the revelation that we needed, because we realized that we could fight back with these, you know, impossible to kill spiralers. And I mean, those creatures could lift cars and survive bullets. They were really scary because they also don't really even look like humans anymore. So when it finally ended, you know, I decided to move to San Francisco for good because initially I was too traumatized to stay in that city. You know, I went through a violent outbreak. And since then, you know, I've led a peaceful life, got married, had a child, but, you know, that whole outbreak, it feels like it just ended yesterday. It's hard to believe it was 20 years ago. Time flies.
Okay, so it's been 20 years since the outbreak. And they beat it? No, it's not over. Look, it didn't hold up. It didn't hold up at all. It did not hold up. Oh man. That sucked. I'm sorry, bros. That sucked. I had a couple of cool visuals. But even back then, it wasn't doing anything new. Right, was it? It wasn't doing anything new. There's no playlist. When did this come out? Hang on, let's see. (2021) December 16th. So what's that? 2 years ago? Mandela was... Hang on, Mandela was like before that. Let's see. When did Mandela start? Well, maybe not actually. Hang on. Wait, when did Mandela come out? Mandela episode 1 came out August 2021, and this was December 2021. So I did beat it, and Mandela did it way better. I'm not going to dunk on someone for like... Well, I can actually, and I will. I hated this. Like, I didn't like it at all. Mandela did everything better. In fact, there's very few things here I actually enjoyed. Only like a couple of frames, basically. There's like literally like a couple of frames, a couple of segments that I enjoyed out of this whole 50-minute thing. I hated this. I don't think this would have been good back when it came out. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's just purely novelty that made people like this. Mandela is actually enjoyable and weird to watch. This wasn't, like, at all. Like, taking away the novelty, it's like, what does it have? It doesn't have a very interesting story. It's got, most of the visuals aren't very good. The delivery is mostly pretty bad. So like, what did this actually have? I think it just had the novelty, so. All the stuff that's out nowadays doesn't work anymore. The market's been too saturated. Something like this just doesn't hold. impact would have had back then. Yeah, it's just, it doesn't have, yeah, once we've had actual good analog horror, this doesn't hold up whatsoever. And this isn't just, oh, I did some interesting things, but, you know, other things have done it now. It's like, well, other things did more interesting stuff before this. Like Mandela did more interesting things before this anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Were we that starved for analog horror back then that this is the thing that blew up? I guess. Voices of the Void or Good Time Dragon? Not getting Good Time Dragon again. I do want to play Voices of the Void though. That one looks sick. I should write it down, shouldn't I? Man. Okay, so how would we fix it? We always do this, right? I always like thinking that because I am a creator myself, so I like thinking of how I would fix issues I see. Even in media I really like, I try and think, how would I improve it, right? I didn't like this, so there's probably a lot to improve here. Look, 58 came out in 2017? Wow. That long, huh? Need a bit more creative. Okay, yep. So for starters, the story is very simple. Very simple, right? If you want... Okay, so clearly this guy wanted to have like mysteries and secrets. That's why there's like hidden messages in there. So you need to have a story that justifies that, right? What was the story? Some mutant, you know, a billion years ago when the dinosaurs got killed, some weird fungus came down to Earth. The fungus came out and started spreading again and then created a zombie plague, basically, is what happened. What's the mystery? Where's the mystery? I guess the only mystery is, like, why did it start up again? And they didn't even begin to address that. Like, that wasn't even on their radar, it didn't look like. Maybe that was buried in the hidden messages, but that's like the only mystery left, right? And they solved it. They apparently solved the issue. Like it's done. So why would I care about like the only mystery left is like, okay, why did it start spreading again? But everything else was like really simple and they treated it like where the virus came from in the first place was treated like a big mystery, but they told us really early. They told us in like volume 2 or maybe even volume 1. Like, oh, it came from outer space. Okay, cool. And everything. And then, so the story was pretty bland and could have been improved drastically. It was way too long. Almost every scene was way too long. Not all of them, but most. Like this whole segment with this guy's log, that could have been like 1 minute max. Instead, it's like, where is it? 6 minutes to... It's 5 minutes long and it could have been less than a minute. It does the regular analog horror thing of using the wrong sort of terminology a lot. Not great voice acting. That wasn't... I would forgive it if the things they were saying were interesting, but they weren't saying very interesting things. Lots of repetition of dialogue. Like of information we already knew. They would repeat it a lot. Was telling us the same things over and over again. Like, I don't care. Segments where, like, nothing happens. So many segments where just nothing happens. Like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, okay. Just the camera looking at a wall while spooky noises happen. It's like, I don't care. Is Loka 58 the one with a moon open people? Yes. Yes, it is. And like videos, like segments dedicated to like pointless stuff. This whole thing could have been a 10-minute video, and you would lose nothing, to be honest. So I can see why the creator didn't want to be known as a Smart Tapes guy. Oh, I wouldn't say that. Faith the Unholy Trinity is a great example of how to tell an awesome story with style and few resources. I think Faith the Unholy Trinity should be a video series instead of a video game is what I think. I don't like it very much, to be honest. So No one fucking ruled it a whole tabletop campaign around it, like 58 Trade. It is. And you can see why it kickstarted the whole genre. Because it's rad. It is rad. Let's get some BGM going, actually. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, and this one just, it wasn't very good. Like, there's very little in here that I think is actually that good, so. Yeah, I think you would need to give us some mysteries. Okay, make a point of pointing out we don't know where it came from. Okay, it's a zombie plague, right? Okay, fine, cool. We can make zombies work. Zombies can be spooky. Tell us, make it a point of mystery that we don't know why it's springing up now, because that wasn't addressed whatsoever. Drop the whole dinosaur name thing in the start. Okay, cool. We know where it came from. It's from outer space. Alien shit. Awesome. We love aliens. Double down on the alien thing, right? Make them act like a fungal hive mind, and there's like some sort of mysterious, and it's implied there's some sort of mysterious thing controlling them from outside of space, right? Give us something extra, like, you know, give us layers, right? Cut right down on everything in here. Fix up the dialogue. Don't repeat very minimal information. Yeah, I think that will go a long way to fixing it. Don't have a segment where nothing happens, because there are multiple segments where just nothing happens, or the information we already know, or the information isn't very good, where nothing interesting happens, right? Yeah, if nothing interesting happens, then you've done something very wrong. A good way to check, right? A good way to check is to make somebody else watch it. And then the second they look at their phone or they check Discord or something like that, then you know you had to change that part. They say you should be able to do that yourself. There's an editor whose stuff I watch, and he says that he does it himself, and I'm like, oh, I kind of can't, because I know all this myself anyway, so I have a different mindset. But boredom is the antithesis of horror. Exactly. I was very bored throughout most of this. You can probably hear it in my voice when I started making fun of it and started making funny noises, because I'm bored. I'm sitting here bored. And yeah, you shouldn't be bored when watching a horror series, right? You know, there should be like the peaks. You know, the peaks of, you know, start off and then. Can I draw? I can't draw. You know, like there's the whole idea of the excitement peak. Emotional peaks when watching. Can I get a graph up? Horror. Bar graph. No, it's not coming up at all. But like, you know, the idea is that, you know, emotions go up and down, and that's fine. That's what you want, because you can't be full bore scared the entire time, because then it just stops. Then it just starts. Your brain just shuts down, right? And so going up and down is good, but analog horror is generally really good at keeping that tension high. That's one of the things that analog horror does really well, is keeping that tension high. But this didn't do that, because I was bored most of the time, so there's no tension when you're just bored. Analog horror usually has the issue where they don't release that tension, right? So analog horror will usually keep the tension up, and then it just doesn't release. Like Skinamarink was really bad at that, right? You get tense, like, oh no, spooky stuff's happening, and then there's like no release for like the first fucking hour of the movie. It's like, oh. And then after a while, you're just like, oh, okay, well, I don't care anymore, because there's no release, so I'm not interested. You burn out from that emotion, right? This is the opposite. Nothing happens, and the things that do happen aren't interesting, so you just get bored. So yeah, it's a very boring series in general. Yeah, it could be done way better. I think. Yeah. You know, I often say when talking about this series, you know, you had to consider the artist's intention while making it. You know, maybe they just wanted to practice their editing. But I think that's actually kind of a pointless thing to say. Because if they're like, this is an analog horror series, analog horror is here to scare you, so you should consider it as something that's supposed to scare you and be an interesting series, right? So I'm not gonna bother considering what the artist's intention is from now on, because there's no point. Right? Maybe Patariku wanted to make a series that, you know, just to practice their editing, right? I don't care. It was boring. So, you know, I had to compare it to Local 58. I had to compare it to Mandela Catalog because they are in the same genre, right? And if you make a series that is analog horror, and especially when you start taking notes from them, which is fine, you know, it's fine to take notes from them, but that means you are going to be compared directly to them, right? If you take stuff from Mandela Catalog, I'm going to compare you to Mandela Catalog. So you better make sure that what you're doing is worthwhile. So, and it's hard to be better. It's hard to be better than like Mandela Catalog, Local 58, etc. It's hard to be better than them. That's okay. That's fine. But you still have to be a certain level of quality, right? It has to be a certain level of quality. And this wasn't, so. So why when you make a horror game never include anything repetitive? Yeah. In fact, having too much new stuff constantly can be overwhelming, which is its own form of stress of horror. Yeah, definitely. It's something you had to balance delicately, right? There is a difference between, you're 100% right, but there's a difference between passable horror and really good horror, right? Really good horror knows those different emotions and knows how to play with them. So, you can raise up people's stress level and energy by talking faster. The faster you talk, the more people will be stressed out and they'll be more attentive, and like it feels like lots of things are happening really, really quickly, right? When you talk faster, lots of action scenes. That's why in action scenes in books, the actual dialogue, the sentences will be shorter. It'll be like bang, 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 bang. But when you want to drop it right back down, then the sentences will be slower, will be more ponderous. You know, you'll have more punctuation. You'll have commas and colons and what have you. You'll slow it right down. You'll give them time to breathe in a sentence instead of at the end of a sentence, right? And that's how you can play with those emotions. And you can be an acceptable book or an acceptable horror without doing the advanced stuff. But to be a really good series, you do need to understand the advanced stuff, right? And, you know, a basic series might, you know, just have flashing images on the screen, and then they'll say, oh, that's sort of spooky, and they won't understand why, right? And that's what this did. This had flashing stuff on screen, and it didn't seem to understand why that was scary. They were just like, well, we need something to happen at some point, so just do that. It's like, well, it doesn't really work, so. I think good horror makes you simultaneously curious to see something, at the same time hesitant. Yes, that's actually a really good point, isn't it? You want to know what's underneath the killer's mask, but you don't want to know. Right? You want to know what Freddy Krueger is doing. You want to see what Freddy Krueger does next, but you also really don't want to see what Freddy Krueger does next, right? German Home Entertainment came out in 2019, really? Spook creator must learn to dance with the audience. Exactly. Like, and that's the same as every medium. You've got to dance with the audience, right? And you can stumble your way through. And that's what the vast majority of media is. It's acceptable, right? It's acceptable. The creator doesn't really understand why it works, not truly. And they don't understand the advanced tactics, but they can get by. This didn't. You want to see what you know will freak you out. Makes good horror. Exactly, yeah. Well, I guess it's useful. So this is the worst one we've seen. Just hands down, this is definitely the worst one we've seen. What are the ones that we've seen? Let's see. So last time we watched Basswood County, that was okay. That was one that was similar, where it didn't really understand what made things scary. It did a couple of scary things, but then it fell completely flat in the second half. and it wasn't interesting and it wasn't scary, and I think it was just the same way they got kind of lucky. White Stag is the opposite, where they're not trying, they don't feel like they're trying to be scary. They're just trying to do interesting things. And it is pretty interesting, the things that they're doing, which is funny. Baroque Hour, Scarlet Tapes, like all the ones we've watched so far, all the analog horror series have been like, okay. And then you've got Valverde, right? Which like absolutely knocks it out in the park in terms of scariness, in terms of interesting things happening, in terms of lore. Like Valverde is just, I don't want to say it's perfect. But it's really good. It's a really, really good series in basically every single regard. And you'll know, most of the really good series are creators who have experience in their own field before coming and doing horror. Like Local 58 was done by someone who was experienced making shows and what have you. So, it almost feels a little unfair to compare them, but that's just how it is, right? When you're at the end of the day, when they're all in the big pool of analog internet horror, you've got to compare them. So, yo, Mr. CC, thank you so much. Some compensation for the boredom. Let's hope that pocket mirror wash out the bad taste. Yeah. Well, we've got dead plates first. So, oh.
Here's some compensation for the boredom. Let's hope that pocket mirror wash out the bad taste of the smile tapes.
Barbarian was the... Oh, that fucking sucked. I hated Barbarian. I hated Barbarian. Oh, I hated it so much. Nah, everyone was like, this movie's great. And it's like, fuck, it was shit. I hated it. Yeah, anyway, that's all for the smile tapes for today, I think. Any last comments, guys? What do you reckon? I think that needs a full rewrite, a full start from scratch to fix that one up, I think. It's not small changes, so. Honestly, sooner or later, we're going to need something different due to analog horror getting milked. Yeah. There's still interesting series coming out, but yeah, you're right. The whole big energy injection that came from Local 58 is definitely dwindling a bit. And it has split into like subgenres, right? So people are trying, but we'll come up with the next hot meme. We'll figure it out. I wonder what it'll be. What do you guys think it might be? So the creator takes this series as a stepping stone for another, hopefully better series. Well, yeah, they've completely pieced out, so I have no idea what they're doing now. Hopefully they do use this experience and make some more interesting stuff in the future, but we may not find out. We might not find out. So, and oh yeah, definitely. I do hope that all the, like when I dunk on these series, I don't dunk on the creator as a person, right? You know, I just look at the series as it is, right? If you like this video, please consider becoming a patron. Thank you all very much to the patrons who have already supported. Their names are on screen now. If you become a patron, you get access to video previews, scripts, your name in the credits, and seeing main channel videos a week earlier than public.